Brian, Logan, what a great hour we've got here this week. You know, kind of an interesting turn of circumstances. You know, what a way to end the show last week, and we're going to kind of ride that into this week. We've got each member of the six-man battle going up against one another in singles competition this week.
Well, I was on the telephone this week with Joe Brody. He got with the championship committee. He got with the promoters around the state, and they decided that the fanfare, the people were writing in, they were emailing, they were calling the offices, and they said how much they enjoyed that match. They probably enjoyed that six-man tag extravaganza, if you will, more than any match that they've seen. So the promoters, they dug down deep in their pockets, and they said, this week, Danny Ray will take on Nightmare number 2. I, myself, will take on Nightmare number 1 later on in the program, and we're also going to have the Rebel against the Mighty Hojo. So the Manson family is in full effect against, I guess, Logan's boys, if you will, or I don't know what you want to call them, but I tell you, the heroes of championship wrestling. But you know what? Rip Manson not going to get in the ring this week. He's just going to go out there and, I guess, cheerlead or whatever he does.
How about you've heard of Hogan's Heroes? Well, maybe we've got Logan's Heroes.
There you go. I tell you what, I don't like to have factions. I don't like to choose sides. I like to be a lone wolf, but I'm lucky to have friends like Danny Ray and the Rebel. You know, we had our problems, so to speak. They wanted to challenge for the belt, and that's cool. Everybody wants to, you know, make their way up into the ranks, and I was happy to give them a match. But we've kind of found common ground together. You know, there's unity in numbers, I guess. And as you see, Nightmare number 2 going against Danny Ray, this should be a great contest right here in our opening bout, and it just gets better from here.
I almost put my foot in my mouth and said a clean break there.
Well, yeah, I mean, did you see that? They don't, you know what I'm wondering? I wonder if any of these guys are married. Do you think that they wear those masks at home? I mean, do you think they switch in and out in other ways? I mean, oh, well, let's not get into that. What I'm trying to say is they can't do anything one-on-one. And Danny Ray, he's going to have to fight all three of them. As you see, Rip Manson right there holding the tights, but Danny Ray was quick enough.
Well, you know, Danny Ray, a notoriously slow starter by trade. You know, the way he's almost facing 3 opponents at once here, Brian Logan, I believe he's going to have to switch up his tactics.
Well, you're exactly right. Danny Ray, he is he's of that old school, like a Johnny Valentine, like a Greg Valentine. He likes to stomped him right on the foot and a big right hand. He likes to ease into the match. It takes him a little bit. Another big right hand to get him going. But once he gets fired up, he's all business. As you see those notorious punches, and it's the wrist effect there, and he gets right in there with those knuckles, right in that jaw. And brother, I know for a fact that just stings and stings. I tell you what a matchup here.
Well, you know, Danny Ray's got his hands full. These are supposed to be one-on-one singles competitions, but that's just simply not going to be the case with the Manson family.
Well, I tell you what, if you see right there, we saw it right on our camera view there seconds ago. Danny Ray's in the ring against Nightmare number 2, and you got Rip Manson and Nightmare number 1 at ringside. But did you see who was also sitting there? Danny's got some boys looking over. You know, he's got some friends there at ringside. Our boys, you know who the ones I'm talking about.
That's right. They've made their presence felt here in Championship Wrestling. The past 2 weeks, they're lurking around. They're waiting around. They've climbed out of their crypts, and they're kind of hanging around to make sure that you guys come out on the winning end of things.
Well, I tell you what, these guys, and you see Danny Ray give him a clean break, and of course he's complaining about the tights, but Late Night Zero came here to do a little promotional thing, a little co-promotion, and they got caught up in the action. They got caught up in the fast, furious pace here, and now their fans, don't you be calling me out, brother. You're going to get into a little too thick if you call me. I got to keep my composure here. I've done been told by Joe Brody that if I leave this one more time, you know, he's threatened to fine me, and that's cool, but I got the money, but I don't have the time for Rip Manson, if you know what I'm saying. But what I'm getting at is Late Night Zero's there watching the backs. They got caught up like every other fan in Championship Wrestling. They love the action. And Danny Ray, I tell you, I just don't know. He's going to have to kick this thing in gear, and I just don't like the odds still. Can you believe Rip Manson calling me out like that?
Well, I can't believe he went there on you, Brian. If anybody in this arena needs to be slapped, it's Hustler Rip Manson.
Well, like I said, if Joe Brody wouldn't have told me that I was going to be fined if I didn't stay in the booth like I was contracted to be. Beautiful hip toss. Beautiful, beautiful hip toss. Now watch these guys. Watch these guys. Now you notice who's going what. They like to huddle up. They like to spin around. And they might make a switch here.
Well, I'm able to actually keep this one straight this time because I know one of them has a shirt on, the other one doesn't, Brian.
Well, thank you for pointing out the obvious points there. You think the world champion, a man of my means, didn't know that the other one had a shirt on? What if he takes the shirt off? What if he goes persona non shirta right there and give me a break?
Well, you know, Brian, that's why you're the champion. I hadn't thought about that.
Exactly. That's why I get paid the big bucks from Joe Brody. Look there, a beautiful leg takedown. Immobilizing the Nightmare number 2. See, that's what Danny Ray's got to do. He's got to get the guy on his back, not only for the pin, but to stop him from getting anywhere close to Rip Manson and Nightmare number 1, who happens to be the guy in the shirt.
Just how do you prepare for this, Brian? I mean, do you go into the squared circle with the mindset of I'm not facing one opponent, I'm actually taking on 3? Is that something that you do?
Well, you always got to watch your back. Anything can and will happen in professional wrestling. That's a cliche. It's been said for years. But what you do is you realize the odds are against you. Danny Ray, if you notice, is standing in the upper portion, the far back portion from our camera. He's trying to cut the ring in half. You know, we talk in tag team wrestling that you got to cut the ring in half and keep your opponent on that side. Essentially, this is a handicap match. Essentially, this is a tag match with Danny Ray not having a partner. He's got to stay out of the side of the ring where the Nightmares and Rip Manson is if he's going to be successful in this contest.
He's almost got to develop eyes in the back of his head, you know, and kind of keep a better eye on what's going on in and around the ring than Eric Foster ever could.
Well, I mean, Eric Foster is the senior referee, and he's a great referee. But, I mean, this kind of action, one man can contain all this. Cover attempt there. You know, he was messing with that mask. I don't know if he loaded it up. I've never seen him load it up, but I wouldn't put it past him. But, you know, I think he's got something in that mask. I think there might be
You're
something
absolutely
in that mask.
right. You're absolutely right, Brian. I believe I've seen it. And it looks as if he's stashing it in the turnbuckle there.
Well, see, these guys, they just can't wrestle fair. They just, you know, they got ability. They're athletes. You know? Oh, look at that beautiful backslide. Backslide out of nowhere. And he got him.
Danny Ray gets the 3 count.
He got him right there out of nowhere. Can you believe that?
1 down and 2 to go for Logan's Heroes.
Fans, we'll be back with more championship wrestling right after this. The guy with the shirt.